Okay, so we've got these two one-time big-name directors, both taking these sort of big creative and financial swings. We've got Francis Ford Coppola with Megalopolis, and then we've got Kevin Costner with Horizon, an American saga. Both men have invested millions of their own dollars into these films. In the case of Coppola, I believe it's something in the realm of $120 million. I think he sold part of his winery. And then you've got Costner, who I'm not sure of the exact figures, but some of what I've read was he put in 20 million of his own money, and then he mortgaged one of his houses or something, but in his own estimation it's upwards of 100 million into the project. This Horizon American Saga thing is I guess supposed to be 4 parts. You've got part 1 releasing in June, and then you've got part 2 releasing in August, and that's certainly ambitious to say the least. But the reaction to these two directors sort of taking these big swings and throwing caution to the wind, the reaction has been interesting to watch. The reaction has been mixed. You've got a lot of people who seem to be very supportive, but then also in the mainstream you see a lot of what seems to be hit pieces almost. You see the sort of hit pieces that you don't really see with any other film. In the case of Coppola, you've got this article that the headline reads, "Does this guy even know how to make a movie?" And then you've got these anonymous crew members coming out and essentially complaining about one of the most revered, accomplished, still living directors, behaving as one of the most accomplished, revered directors. You've got crew members complaining that Coppola wanted to film a certain scene in a very sort of old school way with Adam Driver, and basically saying, oh, we could have done this with CGI in 10 minutes. Even making your own movie with your own money, you still get people breathing down your neck. I don't know about you, but I would let Francis Ford Coppola spit on me. I would let him spit on me, call me names. I'd work for free. I'd let him punch me, kick me, dress me up as a baby doll, and point and laugh for the entertainment of the rest of the crew. These anonymous crew members, these narcs, they don't know how good they have it. I think it does point to some sort of rot in the system, that this isn't just a matter of a lack of talent or a lack of ability. This is a lack of respect, a lack of recognition that you are standing on the shoulders of giants, I guess. And then with Costner's film, which I believe premiered at, is it Cannes or Cannes? It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and there's all these early reviews that are just panning the film, which, it very well maybe dog shit, but it's interesting that after years of giving all these bloated, goofballish superhero movies a pass, people are suddenly putting on their very serious critic hats again when it comes to Coppola and Costner taking these big risks, putting down millions of their own money. It's interesting that suddenly the critics are very professional and very sort of, suddenly we care a lot about the quality of these films, of course. You've got this status quo that they're always lamenting, the sort of homogeneity of streaming. A movie comes out on streaming, it just becomes one of a churn of slop. It becomes just one piece of sausage along the conveyor belt. But then when these movies come out that do sort of buck that trend, they do sort of buck that trend of anonymized slop, then it gets sort of the treatment of, the stuck-up nail gets hammered down. And on the one hand, it is a sort of valuable marketing strategy where it does add to Coppola's mystique. It does sort of add to Costner's mystique. If you paint this image of them as these sort of eccentric auteurs who are willing to risk everything and, damn the results. And honestly, that's kind of where my head is at, is, Megalopolis, Megalopolis could be hot garbage. Horizon, an American Saga, could be hot garbage. But I am just glad that these guys are taking these big risks. It's very refreshing to hear a guy like Coppola and a guy like Costner to say things like, I don't care about money. I'm getting old. I want to make the movies I want to make, and money isn't as important, in compared to getting my vision out there. So on the one hand, even if critics are panning the films, even if some anonymous crew member contributes to some hit piece, that doesn't necessarily work against the film. It is in some sense a good advertising. But then on the other hand, Scorsese will come out with a movie. He'll come out with The Irishman. He'll come out with Killers from the Flower Moon. And he doesn't seem to face the same amount of resistance from the press. And you have to wonder if that has something to do with him going to these big tech companies to get his movies financed. You think about a guy like Coppola, and you wonder why he would have so many struggles getting a movie made. Does he still not have American distribution from Megalopolis? You have to wonder why a film studio would be so hesitant to finance him. You have to wonder why a distributor would be so hesitant to pick up his films. And on the one hand, I do understand it. Coppola, for as much prestige as he still has, he hasn't had, I don't think, a financial hit in some years. And that probably has a lot to do with it. As far as Costner goes, it seems like he's had a big hit with this Yellowstone show. And so when it comes to Costner, I don't think that as ambitious as his project seems to be, he is still coming off the success of this Yellowstone show. So it's maybe not too radical a proposition to the viewing public. But then, a lot of reviews for this Horizon thing is like, well, it would be better as a TV show. This really needs to be a TV show on a streaming platform. Again, you've got the status quo that's sort of lamenting the negative consequences of streaming. But then again, when somebody really does try to break the mold, the response that you get is, well, this would be better on a streaming service. So that's been sort of the reaction from the mainstream. But then, I want to talk a bit about sort of the non-reaction from kind of the internet critic side of things. So you've got all these people, and sort of their bread and butter as far as commentary goes is how out of ideas Hollywood is. Hollywood is dead. Nobody's making good movies anymore. Everything sucks, all of which is true. And yet, again, you've got these filmmakers who, they've been viable in the past, and yet when they do try to do something that matters, to try and do something that might have some sort of impact, that does go against the grain, nobody talks about it. Where's the critical drinker? Where is a Nerdrotic or whoever? I don't keep my ear glued to these people, so maybe they have said something about it. But if they have, certainly correct me. But I think it would be nice to see things like Megalopolis or Horizon to get some sort of positive feedback rather than just sort of fixating on how things are bad or broken. The thing about Coppola and Costner going out on a limb, the thing about them putting in so much of their own money is it is sort of a tangible proof of commitment. You can say what you want. You could say the movies are garbage or whatever. This is still just a show of how committed someone can actually be to the art form. I don't know if these guys are motivated by a desire for independence necessarily, so much as, maybe this is literally the only way they could make their movies, the only way they could make the movies they want to make. It seems like all the money is going to these sort of, again, everything that people are sort of complaining about, this sort of indiscernible churn of slop. There's a movie that just popped up on Netflix. It's called Atlas with Jennifer Lopez, and it's something, it looks like the whole thing looks like it's some sort of propaganda to get you to buy into the idea of AI or whatever. This is a movie that I hadn't heard anything about beforehand that just sort of showed up on streaming. You know, nobody's going to remember this movie 5 minutes from now, but that's where all the money's going. The money isn't going to take a chance on Coppola, a guy who, you know, you could say the guy isn't, you could say his movies aren't making any more money or whatever, but the guy's reputation, you know, it seems like it would surmount that. Thinking purely as like whatever goofball executive runs these streaming platforms, you would think just from a marketing standpoint, you know, you could market a film as, you know, this is the return of Francis Ford Coppola. This is the latest project from Kevin Costner. You'd think that would be a easy venue to market something. It seems like the smart money would be to take a risk on Coppola, to take a risk on Kevin Costner, but no, the money's going to some fly-by-night Jennifer Lopez thing. I don't know, but these are the movies that are going to get me enthused in any case. Some nut job, some aging nut job putting up millions of his own dollars saying, I don't care about money. I gotta make this movie. These are the movies that get me enthused. These are, I think, the movies we should be talking about if we actually care about the medium, if we want something more than an indistinguishable churn of slop. These are I think, the movies that have some opportunity to affect some sort of change. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Goodbye.